Welcome to the Hero Network, where everyone's a hero. I'm your host Vega, and we've got some pretty powerful news for, our favorite female superheroes. First off, Wonder Woman is dressing like Batman. Zatanna is finally getting her own live-action film. And in the boy world, although Black Cat and Silver Sable were cancelled, Spider-Man 3 is entering production real soon. Let's get into more details. Hot off the rumor mills, right off the presses, it seems as though Wonder Woman's newest costume will be slightly inspired by Batman in the Batsuit. I guess in an attempt to make sure that the entire Justice League cinematic universe that's already kind of fallen apart, but we'll talk about Ray Fisher later, stays in some sort of unity. Now, Wonder Woman 1984 may be coming out in October, but we've already got an incredible glimpse at her Golden Eagle armor, and it looks amazing. It is stunning, beautiful. You guys know I love the color gold, so I am in love with it. It's just kind of surprising to see the heavily inspired design make it to the big screen in such a powerful way, especially since we haven't really seen what Robert Pattinson's new Batsuit is going to look like. So maybe they'll take a more lighthearted approach with his and give him some more tights, since they've given Wonder Woman the power suit of sorts. Her new Golden Eagle suit kind of gives me like Batman vibes, in the sense where I kind of expect her to throw like a batarang, or would it be a Wonder Rang? Now this one's got me a little bit more excited than Wonder Woman, because I've always just been a Zatanna fan. Now, if you're not familiar with the name Zatanna, I don't really blame you. She's part of the DC Extended Universe Mythic, because they thought that was the best way to write the English sentence. And she's also part of Justice League Dark, alongside Constantine and some of the characters that made their way into Doom Patrol. So, Zatanna is rumored to be getting her live-action film finally. There aren't a lot of details, no plot, no script, no casting, but Warner Brothers is in talks and bringing this to life. So of course, I had to do some speculating and give it a little bit of thought on who I think would be the best person to play Zatanna. To be 100% honest with you, I have no idea. I never imagined in my life that Zatanna, one of easily arguable C-list DC characters, would get her own live-action flick. So let us know in the comments below for sure, who do you think the best person to play Zatanna will be? Remember, she is one of the few characters in the DC universe whose entire power is rooted in magic. She's a magician, so she runs around fighting people. She was friends with Raven. All of these crazy mythic and spiritual concepts apply to Zatanna. So I'm really excited to see her come to the big screen, if these rumors all pan out to be true. And I have reason to believe that they will, because let's not forget, there were those fan discussions around the potential that she made a cameo appearance in Suicide Squad already. So we'll see. And finally, it's really difficult for me to go weeks and weeks and weeks without talking about one of my personal favorite superheroes, which is of course Spider-Man. And Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 3-2, because this is the second attempt at a third one, will be entering production in September. That's right, Marvel and Sony are finally making their way into producing this third film that was part of the original Tom Holland agreement to get Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How this impacts the rest of the films, I'm not 100% sure, but we do know that it has already impacted the Black Cat and Silver Sable movie in making it so that movie's been canceled. There were some plot leaks recently, so if you want to tease yourself on the movie that could have been, you can find them online pretty easily. But unfortunately, for now, we're sticking with Venom, Morbius, and of course the titular Spider-Man, which is super, super, super exciting for me personally. I don't know how you guys feel about Spider-Man at this point, but they give us as much Spider-Man as possible. He probably, hate me later for this, has a better rogues gallery than Batman. All right, we are here on another episode of Hero Network, and today I have the privilege of hanging out with Mr. Dwayne Welch, comic book writer, creative mogul, and the man behind the MDV imprint. So welcome, Dwayne. How are you?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
Good, good. That's awesome, man. So I know a little bit about you because, I'm a nerd. I work here. I got to do my research. But for the people at home watching, tell them a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your work and how you got into it.
Well, pretty standard. Dwayne Welch, 45 years old from Newport News, Virginia. Been in the comics since I was a baby. Um, grew up in, modest means, and we grew up with modest means. You do the best of what you got. And me and my brother, we would get toys, and we would get the bargain basement toys. The A-list toys. They didn't have a background. What we do, we give them background stories. And as I got older, those background stories became my writing. So that's basically the story in a nutshell.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, modest means, and we wanted the He-Man and the Optimus Primes, but you got the bargain basement C and D list stuff. So, and they don't have the structure, for a lot of the main list characters have. So we go with that.
That's incredible. You like you just mentioned. By the way, you look great for 45. But like you just said, you're 45. Like, could you have ever at any point really imagined that the stories you created as a 6, 7, 8-year-old child dealing with just social status and whatever was going on around the world around you, not being able to access the A-list characters would put you in a position where you'd start creating your own A-list characters?
No, because what happened, I couldn't draw. I couldn't draw for forever, and the older you get, and then my time in the military, the older you get, the more and more you think, well, that's kiddie stuff. And, it's a dream, but it's a kiddie dream. But I kept it going in my head, and I kept writing stuff down. And when I finally started meeting a community on Facebook that actually was producing books at all ages, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's the best possible response. This is exactly what I want to do. I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Facebook groups, you did start a Facebook group yourself that took off and has quite a strong following. Tell us a little bit like how did you get inspired to that? I mean, the name says a lot. Black nerds are superheroes, but like, how did you bring it about?
Well, like I said, meeting the community and just want to meet other people like me who just being a black nerd, you don't always meet other people, you don't always meet people on your same wavelength. We have these conversations about things, and I'm older, so I got that kind of like conversations about Generation 1 Transformers, and conversations about Masters of the Universe, and conversations about the 80s cartoons, and conversations about today's comic books versus yesterday's comic books. I wanted to kind of meet that kind of crowd. And you when I named it Black Nerds and Superheroes, it just basically said a lot to a certain community that I want to have a conversation with that I never really could do with.
Right. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about Facebook and social media in general. It allows people who aren't able to connect normally to connect. Like you may not be in a physical place where you could connect with 3, 4 other comic book nerds at your age that look like you, that talk and act like you. They understand where you're coming from. So I think that's pretty crazy. Did that in any way help you were you already writing your Carnivore series at that point, or was that something that kind of helped push you to write that?
I've been writing in some form or fashion since I was about 13 years old. My mother, who just passed away, she would tell me all the time, you got to grow up. And I'd be like, I'm going to show you I don't got to grow up.
Exactly.
I have to grow up. I think I change from the way I move, but I don't have to grow up.
Right.
What I wanted to do is keep my stuff going by writing or just doing other things to keep it going.
That's amazing, especially as and you know, condolences for your loss. You know, much respect. But you know, it's interesting to hear that perspective, especially with yourself having a large family now, right? Like you have 5 daughters, 1 son, some pretty big family.
Yeah, and it's just I'm used to it. You know, people ask me all the time, "What's it like to have a big family?" I couldn't imagine living my life any other way. You know, I love my family, I love my wife, I love my kid.
It's funny. I'm actually one of 6 children myself. I'm the oldest, so I get where you're. I get it. Yeah, I get the big family. It works. So how I can imagine that your son is probably very interested and thinks it's amazing that his dad is a comic book guy. How do your daughters deal with comic books or interact with it? Yeah.
I've kept my kids in some form of gaming. When I raised my kids, I kept them in trading card games. We played Versus. We didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but we played something similar to that.
Yu-Gi-Oh's my thing, man. Don't do that to us.
Kept them in those kind of trading card games, so they understand. You know, it's creative thinking, it's creative logic, and I kept them playing those games. So, and they all know how Dad got down. You know, Dad was going to let you just, you know, not use your imagination in some form or fashion. You know,
right.
So it became part of the household. You know, when New Comic Book Wednesday is not just something that someone said. They know New Comic Book Wednesday because Dad. You know, this is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kids, my girls, they know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, so let's get to the meat and potatoes. Speaking of imagination, tell us about your Carnivore series and how that ties into the SF series and everything that's going on. We're excited.
I'm trying to just get a lot of the stuff when I was younger, trying to get it pushed forward. Carnivore was one of my favorite. I created like a solo character. My favorite solo character I created when I was younger, and I felt like people would enjoy the character. It's about a young man who grows up an orphan. He an accident happens in the orphanage, and that brings a lot of attention to him. And he realizes he is a demon, least part demon. He goes out in the woods, hides out in the woods for a little while until he's tracked down by a government tracker. A fight ensues, and the government tracker assumes he's killed him, but he can't find the body. I just told the whole story, but it is a real. To me, I feel like it's more of a throwback to the older comics, the 70s and 80s stuff. Maybe a little bit of Weapon X story. You know what I mean? You know, just my writing style. I don't spend a lot of time explaining. I want to get to action as quickly and as possible. I read a lot of books today, and it's a lot of exposition. And I'm a decent exposition guy, but I want to see someone fight. I write books because I want a 12-year-old Dwayne to be like, okay, that's cool.
There's no better way to write. That's awesome. So how did you decide that the SF series needed this new prequel that you have the Kickstarter campaign up for?
Well, SF3 was basically when me and my brother used to play with our toys. It'd always be this big old room, looked like a disaster because there were like 50,000 toys out, and SF3 was the characters we were playing. The decision to run SF3 because that was basically our superhero A team. You know, that was our big blockbuster, so to say. SF3, I wanted to establish the characters because they were my favorite characters, besides what was out there for us A-list, you know, Transformers, G.I. Joe stuff. Yeah, they were my favorites. So, and doing something with them, they're the ones I gave so much background story to. I could recite them as easily as I could with any, you know, A-list character. So.
Got you. Got you. So, where can people find the stuff that you have available now, online or in stores?
Right now, I have the MDB comic imprint, but that's underneath the Constant Hustle. So www.constanthustlecomics.com. You can find the first issue of Carnivore, and that's also where I'm gonna put the SF3 number 0. I'm just gonna go in the ConstantHustleComics.com library.
Okay, awesome, man. This has been an amazing interview. I'm so glad that like we got to talk about imagination and really what it means to embrace your creativity, because I think that that's a lot of what the world is missing. I'm a big believer in creativity. Like, I strongly believe that's the only reason people exist, is to create cool stuff. So thank you for instilling that and living by that. And I've got one more question for you. Your character style looks very Marvelish, right? Some could say like it looks very Luke Cage design. So who would you say are your top 5 superheroes?
Superheroes?
Yes. No particular order, just top 5.
Okay. I grew up a make Marvel mind guy. So
okay.
Number one's gonna always be Spider-Man, regardless. For me, Spider-Man to me is close to perfect.
Yeah.
Number 2, probably Batman.
Okay.
Batman guy. Do I gotta say Marvel, DC, or just anywhere?
Nah, anyone you want. Anything you want. I love it when people say indie guys too, because that's always super fun.
I like indie guys, but some of them are like derivative, very derivative.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'd probably say, if I had to go around everywhere, Wolverine.
Hey, that's a good one.
Wolverine. I would like to say Optimus Prime, but I don't know if that's what you'd be looking for. Optimus Prime.
That counts. That counts. He's a hero. Especially with the Michael Bay movies, he might as well be wearing a mask and a cape. Like,
get some love. And Panther, T'Challa. Yeah, Black Panther.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. Nice. That's an impressive list.
Yeah.
Word. Well, again, Dwayne, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate everybody who comes on the show and takes a moment to talk with us. I can't wait to read the SF series. I'm going to definitely check out Carnivore, and I'll let you know what I think for sure. And hopefully the people at home check them out too.
Yeah, we still got the Kickstarter still out there. We got about 10 days left on it. It's going very well.
Yeah, you've already passed your goal. You crushed it, so you're about to double up.
and that's that's a hope, man. That's a hope. That'd be a blessing, for real. You know, like I said, my modest brother just trying to get my work out there. I want to keep this. This is what once I found out this is possible, I'm like, okay, well, let's do it.
Exactly. Well, thank you, and back to you, Vega.
So there you have it, friends. The women are here to take over, whether it's the DC Extended Universe with Wonder Woman and hopefully Zatanna, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe with WandaVision and the Black Widow film that'll be coming out sometime next year. It's going to be a good time for female superheroes, you know? Pretty exciting, and I'm really glad that they didn't attempt to replicate the bat nipple suit in any way, shape, or form for Wonder Woman. So, big shout out to whoever was at the table when somebody suggested that bad idea. In the meantime, make sure you check out the trailer for the new Candyman film if you haven't seen it yet. It aired at the BET Awards, and look, just a reminder, you only get in trouble with Candyman if you say his name 3 times. He's pretty much teaching everybody in the world to just mind their business. So, mind your business, and tell a friend to tune in to the Hero Network. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us at Hero Network TV. I'm your host, Vega. You can follow me at WhatUpVega, and as always, everyone's a hero. Thanks for tuning in.